Okay.
Drone will just drill on one or two people. That's all I'm saying.
So, yeah, we were going through since last week almost every single command, so I'm just going to continue doing that. Whoever was here, we stopped here at hatching, all the different kinds of hatching and stuff. I'm going to go through the blocks one more time. Just 3 commands are important. Whatever you want to make. I tried making a test one. Uh, I'm just going to make a very random shape. It doesn't matter. There you go. Something like that. Maybe do that in there. Okay, that's a block. Okay, now we have 2 different objects in there. If you see this and that. Now let's say this is an object that you're going to use for any of your drawings in the. You guys use those triangle things, right? For let's say.
To label our
Yeah.
ports.
Yep. There you go. Now let's say I'm gonna move this. Maybe that's fine. Right there. There you go. This is an ultra fast Cat 7, whatever. Okay, now you're gonna save it and as a block so that in the future any drawing you make you use this. How do I use it? Select, if you go on the tools side on the left, just select the block maker, give it a name, random stuff. Okay, now if you see it's asking for like what object should be part of this block, so I'm going to click that and select everything that I want. Click select enter and then pick a point. What that means is like there's going to be a point which is going to act like its base. So every time you try to insert it, that's where it comes from. It doesn't matter. Just pick any point on your object, you'll be fine. And then that's it. Simply create block. Now if you see on the right, it's there. Okay. So now I delete it. I'm making a floor plan. I want to put that block. All I have to do is now just drag it.
Sweet.
And it's right there. Okay. And now you see everything is now one object in a block. Right?
How do you resize the block once you put in?
You can resize it. There's a scale command which we were going to look at later. See? Like that. So like that. Okay. So let's say you don't see that. If you want to look at what are all your block options, either you go over here and click, or there's a block editor here, and there you go. That's the second tool. Simple, easy tool. Okay, now the third is block editor. So if you want to, if there's a block you made and you want to change something in it, you can use that. Let me show you how. So it's like, you know what, I don't want this circle. Okay, I'm gonna click, select the block that's in the drawing, edit it, and what I want is like, I don't want this circle, or let's do this. I'll just make that, and I'm gonna cut that part. So I'm gonna trim it. There you go. Okay, and I want to save it just like this. It's technically going to save. So once you close, you see. Now if you see the block going forward, we'll have those changes. So in case you want to change something and have it reflected and going forward in all your blocks, you can do that. Simple. So if you want to edit your block, that's the way. Go to this third option in the blocks, which is block editor, and then you can change everything in there. Okay? Cool. What else? These things, don't worry about it. You're not gonna, nobody hardly any uses it. Don't worry about it. Okay, simple. Next is modify. It's easy. If you don't right click, let's say you want to select this object and right click, either you can go to the modifier tools from here, or it's right there. So now I want to move this, right? So just click. The first option is move. You can just move it wherever you want. Easy. I'm gonna put it over there. Okay, next option is copy. Okay, let me use something better for this, which is always a chair. Okay, now I want to make just, there's no set. Wait, we made that a month ago.
Oh, I wasn't here.
Oh, okay. So I want to make a few copies of these chairs, which let's say there is a room and I want to just spread it out here and there. So copy command, click, select your object. If you see, always read in the bottom if you're always confused what to do next. The text in the bottom tells you what to do. So select your object. Selected it, press enter. Now select the base point. I always, if possible, select the center. If not, you can pick whatever you want. Okay, now I can make copies. I want one chair right there. I want one chair right there. Maybe right there. Maybe, yeah, that looks like equal maybe. Right there, escape and done. So now you can make random copies of any of your object. Okay?
Okay.
Easy. Like you can do that with doors too. Wow, that's a big door. And so make a copy of that and enter, and the base point may be there, so I'm gonna put the door over there, maybe a door over there and stuff. Done. Right? Next, rotate. Again, easy. Select the command, select the object you want to rotate, press enter, and now select the point from where you want to start rotating. If there is a center, great. Now you can just, whatever angle you want, you can keep rotating, or you can feel like if anybody's high, you can like feel trippy, whatever you want. Okay? So if you guys remember in the bottom, there's a couple of tools you can select on or off. Like if you see, there's one called ortho mode, sorry, not polar. Ortho mode means it's always going to work in 90-degree angles, right angles. So if you select that, now if I want to rotate, if you see, it only does 90-degree angles. So if you want an accurate measurement, like I only want this 90-degree rotation. So just turn it on, and then whatever you move, you'll see it's only going to do all 90 degrees. But if you want more freehand, click that, it's off, and now you can do whatever you want. Okay? Cool? There you go. That's rotation. Okay. Any questions so far on that? Simple command so far? Okay. Now trim we all know, but I'm still gonna go through it. I'm just gonna draw a bunch of random lines there, there, and that. Okay. So trim command looks like a scissors thing, a pair of scissors. So just select that. Okay. If you see, if you're doubting where you are, once you select it, it's just looking for. You always need an intersection for the trim command to work. Right now, it's going to work over there. You can see that. So if I hover my mouse over it, you can see that it works. Once you click it, it's gone. It's gone. It's gone. Why? Because all of these are joined intersections. Now, let's say if a line exists like this, and you're like, okay, I want to trim it short. Wow, it still worked. How?
It's just you erase the line.
Yeah, but it shouldn't do that. That never used to do that before when I was a kid.
I think it's new.
Okay, it still works. Never mind. So yeah, if you need to, it's great. Okay, maybe I'll use that as an example. Now I want to clean the space up because it's a door. There's no wall. Ta-da! Done. Okay, simple command, trim. You already know that. So now the next is, if you see, again, it's kind of hard to see on these, but there's like a drop-down menu there. So if you click and hold, it'll show you what the other command is, and that is extend. Extend is simple. So if I select, so if you have a line that is not touching, or anything that is not touching the opposite wall, line, direction, and you want them to meet, when you select that command and you hover it over your required object, it's just going to do that. Done. So a line that was not, a line that was short before now joins it. It's that simple. So right. So you can do that with anything. Oh, it's like, oh, I missed it. Now let's see if it's going to work for this case. It's not, because I think it's not going to intersect.
Yeah.
So it needs to be. Now what happens? Let's say if I rotate it. Just tie slightly there. Okay, now let's see. Ta-da! So it's going to calculate if it's going to touch the opposite. If you see that it's not working, extension is not working, it's probably because it's not going to intersect, or touch the opposite line. Questions so far? Easy? Doubts? Concerns?
Is there
Yeah.
is there some way we can get another mouse so like this one so we can use that computer as well?
Yes, I guess you can get mouse if you go to the facilities office and ask for them to order a mouse for you guys. They will,
Okay.
Or just have Ron.
or you can have Ron order one.
But to make sure it's a rookie.
Yeah, just a normal mouse, even if it's wireless,
Mhm.
with like scroll and everything. Not that.
Yeah.
That's kind of does not work.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So, and then another familiar command we're gonna look at is filleting again. I'm just gonna draw a rectangle. Come on. Okay, there. Okay, filleting is easy.
What's
Okay,
it called? Filleting?
yeah, fillet,
Fillet.
like a fillet of fish, fillet.
Mm.
Okay. I select it. So again, if you're confused, I don't know what to do next. Just read the bottom. It says select the first object, or you can do the options. I would prefer when it comes to filleting, just give it a radius. Like filleting means it's going to give you this nice curved edges.
Mm.
So curved edge basically means it's part of a circle. It's an arc. So the easiest way to do that is always giving it a. That's the best way to do a fillet. So you can give it a radius. So if you see in the bottom options, undo polyline radius, if you type R, which means it's going to go for the radius. How big do I want the radius to be? Let's say this time 6 inches, so half a foot. Okay, so first object done, second object done. So that's like a 6-inch radius fillet edge. Okay, it's nice and sharp. Any questions on that?
Could you fillet from this line to this line so the whole thing bends?
I believe you can. Let me see if it's possible. So basically, that's
That's
making an
that's
arc.
That's a 6-inch radius right there.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Gotcha.
Okay. Cool. All right. Now chamfering. Chamfering is like fillet, but what it means is instead of a smooth edge, it's like somebody took a saw and chopped off the
Mm.
corner and made it like a very sharp edge. Okay, so
What is it called again?
chamfering.
Chamfering. Is that the same fillet thing?
Yeah, let me
Okay.
go
It's
back.
in the
Okay.
Fillet drop down menu.
Yep. So, okay. Let's say that's by default filleting.
Okay.
Click and hold, you'll see chamfering.
Okay.
Do that. So what it needs is, again, if you're like, oh, I don't know what to do, just read the bottom stuff. What I would do, there's two options that work really well, distance and angle. Okay?
There you go.
I'll show you what that means. Let's try with distance first.
The D.
So type D. So the first chamfer, what it means is, let's say you know the measurement of a line, the first line, let's say it was 10 feet. What it's saying is, at what point, how, from the end point, consider this is the corner that you're chamfering.
Mhm.
When you give it the first distance, it's like how much length are you chopping off, basically. It'll make sense once you see it happening.
Okay.
So I give it 6 inches again. And for the second line, again the same thing, 6 inches. So that's my first, and that's my second. So from that corner that is gone now,
Mhm.
to that point was 6 inches, from that to that was 6 inches. That's basically what it's trying to say.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Okay.
Questions? Doubts? Okay?
So now both of those lines are 6 inches shorter on
Yeah.
on that side.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you can do the same thing with angles. Okay? Again, but you'll have to give the first, so I'll give it 5 inches. And what angle? 45. Let's do 70-degree angle. Okay, that's my first line. And that's my second line. So if you see the angle so steep,
70 degree from where though?
from the first line
First
going
line
to the
to-
second.
Okay.
So this angle,
That angle is 70.
70 degrees.
Oh,
Okay.
that is 70. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Questions?
Which one is 70 degrees?
So let me show. This angle over here
Oh, okay.
is 70 degrees.
Gotcha.
Alright, then
Okay, so that's chamfer. Questions?
And how does it know whether or not to make it 70 degrees on the top or 70 degrees there?
It'll always be from the first line going to the second.
That you selected the first
Yeah.
one.
So when I gave it an angle, the next is like I have to select the first line. So
okay.
whichever is the first line that you
from there
select,
it's
I was
Yeah.
going with the angle.
from there it's going to calculate the angle going to the second.
Got it.
So had I chosen that one first and that second, then you could have seen the line be a little
It breaks
too
it
like
too.
that way. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Questions? Easy.
Could you teach us how the radius works? So I know that like a radius starts at a point and keeps going on and on, but but your 6-inch radius from one corner
Mm-hmm.
and your 6-inch radius from top to bottom was I was drastically different. I thought
Sure.
I thought it would have like a smaller arc, like 'cause so if the radius is 6 inches, then what part of this?
Sure.
What part of the circle is 6 inches? Because that's how I was understanding the radius. Is like imagining like a little circle on the corner.
Yeah.
Um,
That's a good question. So let's try that one more time. Let me just do ortho on so that I get straight 90s. Okay, something's not perfect, but I want to fillet that part, radius 6 inches. Now I fillet that part and that part. I guess more than it giving it a 6-inch circle, what it's doing is like if you connect opposite ends, it's just joining it with an arc, whether it's 6 inches or not. We can measure it, but that was one of the lessons I was gonna do.
so saying that from this point it's 6 inches, 6 inches, 6 inches, 6 inches all around.
No, I don't think that's how it should be. Because clearly it's bigger than 6 inches because I do know that that circle is 6-inch radius.
Yeah.
I think if you're trying to fillet from one line which is not perpendicular or attached to it's not intersecting, it's if you just select fillet, it's just going to make a appropriate sized arc to join the two lines,
Okay.
not 6 inches. Because filleting basically means rounded edges,
Gotcha.
right? But here, this line and that line are not necessarily joined together. I mean, they're not intersecting.
Okay.
So in that case, when you're trying to fillet, instead of going for 6 inches, it's just
The
connecting them with an arc.
and the length of the arc is 6 inches.
No,
Nope.
that's what I'm saying. It's not doing that anymore
Okay.
because it's too far a distance for that. It's
Gotcha.
just creating an arc that's appropriate and joining it.
Okay. Okay. So then what about this arc is 6 inches?
It's not. That's
Oh,
what I'm saying.
Shoot. Okay.
But if you do that over here, a line that is intersecting or perpendicular, it will do it there.
Okay.
Now that radius is 6 inches.
Okay, that radius is 6
Yeah.
inches. And does
When
it-
in doubt, I
breaks
can
that up too.
So, like so the circumference on the other end is 12 inches?
Uh,
That's gorgeous.
the circumference is just the whole thing, right?
I was thinking on this side, since you said that up here, when it's just one side, that's 6 inches. Well, altogether, would that be 12 inches?
No, it's not.
It'd be
What I was trying to say is like, if something is not in fillet works when it's an intersection because fillet means it's smooth corners.
Mm-hmm.
But this line and that line were not joined together. This line and this line that was here were joined together. So when you're using fillet to somehow make a smooth edge a curved edge for this line and that line, instead of it restricting it to 6 inches, it's just creating an arc that just joins it.
Okay.
whether it's 6 inches, whether it's 12 inches, like whether it's 15 inches. Like, how do you know that? By, for example, this curve that I took, I tried to do that before too. It's clearly far bigger than that because I do know that this is a 6-inch radius circle. So fillet basically is something you use for smoothing out corners or edges. Okay, not necessarily for that. But there is no edge here, which is why I just joined it by making an arc. Okay. I'm not saying that use that. I guess you can use it for like in crunch situations where you're like, you know what, I don't have time to calculate. I'm just going to use fillet to join these two with an arc. Maybe in those cases. Okay, but that's not what it's for. Okay, any other questions on that? No?
No, sir.
Okay. So we looked at this command again. I'm going to go over it again. Making an array. Let's say you are working on an auditorium or any room, and you're asked like, I need to see how many chairs fit in that room. Let's say I just makes a giant room. Okay. Now it's like, hey guys, I need to know how many chairs can fit in there. Like, oh, sorry, that rectangle is a little too small. Let me make a really big one then. How about that? Okay. Wow,
That is too big.
that's a little too big.
Tory Gray, right?
Yeah, cool. Well, let's assume that's Tory Gray, some kind of Tory Gray. Okay. Now there's many ways to do that. Let me just put it in an appropriate position. Let's say I like that corner. Now see, now it's like, okay, now give me a nice layout of all the chairs equally spaced, right? So instead of using the copy tool and going one, there's obviously an easier method. It's called array. An array means just an arrangement of things. So there's 3 kinds. Let's look at the first one, rectangular array. I clicked on it. It says select the objects. That's my object. Select enter. By default, it's going to give you 4 and 3. You can see it's easily spaced, right? You can increase it. Now I want 15 columns. And I want 10 rows. There you go. Okay. Now you want like, but I want to specify spacing according to what I want. If you're a little flexible, there is no assigned spacing. Maybe you can do this. Oops. A little
That's
during COVID times. Okay. Or now same for the columns. Do that.
Wow.
Okay, it filled in. Or you were very specific like COVID times and you went, no, I only want 6 feet everywhere. So if you read in the bottom, it says select grip, edit array, associative base, point, spacing. Spacing is what you're looking for. Type S, enter. What is the difference between columns? 6 feet. What is the distance between rows? 6 feet.
It's always rows and columns.
For rectangular array.
How does the computer know which one is rows and which one is columns?
It's a computer.
Because it's a computer.
Oh, okay. No, I mean, like, 'cause like you can have, because your columns could be this way and your columns could also be that way.
No, I mean, I think the columns are always like vertical.
Because like this is like empty space right here.
No, I mean,
Oh.
it is empty space, but there are certain absolutes like columns are usually always vertical.
Okay.
Rows are always horizontal.
Okay.
Okay. So now if you see all these are 6 feet apart each. So if you want more, you can do that too. I want the columns to be 20 feet apart. Let's see what happens. A little too much. Okay. Easy, simple, rectangular array. You can change however many you want. Okay, fine, 5 columns. There you go. Now back in space. Done. Come in. There you go. So that's your rectangular array. Now you have all these chairs a little too far away and everything. Okay, now, but there's a whole bunch of other options there too. I'm going to delete this. If you click and hold drop down, there's a path array. Last time we had a little bit of confusion, but I have a way I figured it out. So what I'm going to do, let's say first make a path. Now I let's say I use the arc because arc is always easy to understand, and that's my, let's say that's my endpoint. Okay, now I want chairs along this path, so I just brought in a chair. I'm gonna move it closer, and you know it's a little awkward. I want it as if it's facing that surface, so I'm gonna rotate it a little bit.
Facing the stage.
Yeah, so there you go. That looks pretty good. Okay, make sense so far? So now I chose path array. Now what does it say? Select your object. Okay, that's my object and my curve. There you go.
Nice.
Oh, that's better.
So it'll calculate the path and just go. Now again, spacing, you can either do this or you can type whatever distance you want. Okay, cool, easy.
And then just keep going out like that.
Yeah.
Get up there, get right in.
So from where the path starts to where it ends. So this works. Let's say, you know what, when this works best? Let me give you a quick example. Let's say you have you seen conference room tables? Okay.
Big ovals.
Yeah, the oval tables. Let's say it is 5 feet in this end. Wow, that was pretty small. And I'm just gonna make, let's say, 10 feet this way. That's it, that's 10 feet. Let me make it more. Take the midpoint, 20 feet. How about that? Okay, now I'm just going to, that was a command we were going to look at, but right now I'm going to just simply mirror it. Okay, there. Now you want to, conference rooms are usually oval shaped, nice tables, right? So I'm going to make an arc to show that it's a nice oval. So which one should I use? Maybe start, end direction. Right now I'm not worried about. That's my start point, that's my end point. It didn't get it. Specify start point, specify end point. What? Oh, because it's ortho. Never mind, get off. There you go. That's a nice shape. Okay, I'm gonna, but I want the exact same thing opposite. Instead of making it again, I'm just gonna mirror it. Mirror command is all the way over there, the triangle looking thing. Click it. Okay, specify the first point. There you go. Mirror? Good. Now to clean it up, I'm going to delete it. So now that's a conference room table. Now I want to put chairs. So I'm just going to work around it, use it, move it closer like that maybe. Okay, now I have to rotate it. So, come on, there. That looks nice. But now I want the chairs to be filled along this path. So I'm gonna select the path array, select my chair, enter, select my path, that's my path. Okay, if you want a few less chairs to make it more even looking, there, or a few more rather. There you go, that's more even. Done. Right? And now you want the same thing to be reflected on the other side. Again, select all your chairs, not on that line. Okay, this command works wonders. Sorry. There you go. Come. If you have a steady hand, this works well.
Ooh, there's that counts me.
There. Okay. Select it all that I wanted. Mirror again. Select the midpoint. Ortho is helpful. There. Done.
And then
A conference room. And then you can just add another chair over there, then you're done.
If you wanted, could you make the whole like inside oval all one piece so that you could use the whole thing as your array line?
You
Or-
can.
Or that just
You
be-
can do that.
Or that just be too complicated.
No, you can do that.
Okay.
Give it a try. How about that's your homework?
Alright.
Okay. Cool. Easy on that path arrays. No problem. Now the same thing with, now there's another array called circular array, or polar array, which means circle. That's your thing. Put it a little too big, but let's say I'm just gonna move this so that it's more like 90 degree. Go ahead. Okay, there you go. Okay, so okay, polar array. So select that one, select your object, select the center of your, specify the center point. There you go. For the circle, there you go. Now how many do I want? 20. It's a pretty big table. There you go.
Knights of the Round Table.
There you go. Now that's the United Nations
Mhm.
thing right there. Okay. Any questions on arrays? Okay. I just showed you mirroring. Does anybody have questions on mirroring? Yeah, if you want to just reflect, like once again, just chair over here. Now I want this chair to be on the opposite side, so I select mirror, select your first object, press enter. Now what's the mid? So any point you select, it's going to act as that's the middle line. So I'm just going to look for the appropriate middle line. Ta-da! There you go. It's mirrored. Okay, easy. Okay, what was this command? Move, copy, rotate. You don't have to worry about it. You just
Yeah.
saw that.
Does the mirror one have a drop down menu?
No. Okay, so offset, easy. Now I want, what does it say? Specify offset distance. Okay, 5 inches. Object. That object. Done. If you take it outside, it'll offset it outside, depending on whichever direction. But it's not going to go more than 5 inches. So whatever distance you want, I want it offset this time. You know, maybe you're trying to make a nice design inside. You can use that. Okay, now here's another command. It's called explode. So if you see, how to explain it, now this chair, it's all one object, right? But let's say I don't want it to be one object. I want it to have individual parts, because you want to delete something for this. You are not editing a block, but let's say you just want to remove something. Okay, easy. Click on explode, select your object, enter. Okay, now see individual parts. Like that. Okay, cool. So now it'll take something that was as one part, break it into multiple parts. Simple. The stretch command, I don't like using this one. It's better to use something else. An example is, if you have a rectangle like that, just select it. Select that point. I didn't even do anything, just clicked it. That's a far better way to use it. Okay. Now scaling. This is where, let's say you had a chair and it's like, oh wow, that room is real and the chair is actually a little too small. So what you can do is scale it to an appropriate size. So click on the scale command. It says, as you see in the bottom, select your object. That's my object. And the base point. I'll use the center point. How about that? Okay. Now if you drag the mouse outside, it'll become bigger. If you drag it inside, it'll become smaller and smaller.
What's the scale factor?
If you have a very specific measurement that I want it to be like 1.5 times bigger. If you see from the chair, it's 1.5 times bigger. So you can either do that or you can do free, like however big you want. Okay, scaling, easy?
Yeah.
No questions, doubts? Okay. And then break at point. So now there's a command here called break at point. What it means is, like, let's say you see this is like one straight line. Now I want to break it at a point. So I select that command and select your object. That's my object. Breakpoint. That's my breakpoint. Done. Simple. Why didn't it work with a rectangle? Let me see this. How about if I do that and I do that? Let's try this one. break at point. That's my object that I want to break. And then that's my point. There you go. It did it for the line segments though, but not for rectangle.
So you can break at any point or just an intersection?
No, there has to be a specific intersection point.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like, okay, something that it's basically telling you that's where it's divided.
But it just explodes the rectangle.
For the rectangle, it didn't do probably. Probably it's better to use an explode command for that. There you go. Okay. But if you see the breakpoint has that arrow, so it has drop down menu. So if you click, it says just break. What that I forgot what that meant. Let me draw something more. How about that? And then another one right there. Okay. Break. Select objects. That's my object. Select second. Oh, for break. Okay. The difference between break at point versus break. Break at point, it's only going to divide a line at one point. For break, it's going to create gaps. So that's my first object. So basically, where you click, it's going to start creating a. So be careful. If you select the break, not break at point, where you're going to click, it's going to start creating a gap from there. So if I click here not knowingly, that's where the gap's going to start from. Let's say I want to start it from there. Now second point. So see, the further you keep taking, it's going to create a gap. Maybe I stop right there. There you go. That's what break is. Okay? Yeah, I don't think you're ever going to use this tool a lot, but it's nice to know.
Does it break based off of? I mean, its break segments like it will go pop 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 instead of just being able to break it smoothly. Does it break that based off of the how zoomed in you are?
Probably. That's a very good question. Let's see if that's my first. Yeah, I think so. It's not necessarily based on. It's not doing it super smooth. I think it's doing it based on certain measurements, which I do not know what are.
Okay.
Because there's no option for me to select.
Gotcha. Oh, but you can do first point and then the second point to break from.
Let's say first point. There you go. That's my first point. Now give it the second point. Oh, because that's a different line segment, it's not going to take it. So I can go this way. There you go. Second point.
Okay.
Cool. Okay. Break. Join. Oh, did I delete it? Okay. Join command, as it's the opposite of break, it's going to join two things. Okay. Select source object. That's my source object. Select objects to join. That. Come on. Select lines to join to source. That line. Done. Okay. So there was a gap now. Now there's no gap. So now you can. This is actually a lot more useful if you have like, oh, I need to join this line to that join, and there was a gap there. Just use that. You're good.
And you can select multiple lines.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. I think there was an option there to select multiple lines. Okay. These commands you don't need to know. Don't worry about those. Questions? Issues? There's one other tool I'll show, which is easy, hopefully, which is texting. I mean, writing a text. Okay?
I know how to do that.
Great.
No.
Simple text box. So specify first corner and there. Now you type whatever you need to type. This or CAD lesson. Done. Yeah, save. Wow. But as you can see, it's too small, right? I was like, no, but I want pretty huge text. So what you can do, there's another, on the right side, you see it's not that one, sorry. Text styles. Click on it. Standard styles, width factor, angle. So here you can select if you want a completely different font, if you want to change, so if you want to change the text height, let's say I want to give the text height a foot actually. Let's see what that does. If I type my new text, whoa, there you go. CAD. No need for escape. There you go. So you can adjust however much you want,
So
size.
writing is one part, editing is another two.
I mean, let's say you opened a drawing and you found out like, oh, it's too small. Going forward, all my things should be of one size. So if you see the first one, it just gives you the box where you can type. The second option is where you can edit, go in the drawing, how your texts look like
Can I edit
a
the-
global.
Can I edit the pre-written text?
Yeah, I think so. Like, let's try this. Come on. Okay, let me try that one. There you go. 5 inches. Save. There you go. Got a little bigger. No, actually, did it? How about, no, it did not. Probably because the box was small. How about if I edit this one? And because I know that this box is big, how about that? Oh, yeah.
Mm.
So it restricts it according to the
Depending on
box
the
too.
box.
Yeah.
Could you treat the text like a CAD drawings? Like instead of
Yeah.
using that, could you just use the scale function?
Yeah.
To make it.
I mean, but it's going to consider it as an image.
Okay.
There you go.
Gotcha.
And you can do whatever you want with it too. So if you have it selected, I can rotate it.
You can make it into a block.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can save text as blocks. Like if I click that, text, select your object. I think it did select it. There you go. I think it did select it, yeah. And then a point, that's my point. Create block. There you go. Text.
Okay.
Going forward, you can just drag it.
So it comes with a box also.
Yeah, because it's a text box, so not just a text. Okay, questions? Issues? No.
Does the box just get bigger as you keep writing more as
No,
you
I think we
you more text?
extend the box.
I mean, if let's
make the box
say you have, I did this, okay,
Oh, okay.
and you want to keep typing more, you can just,
Okay.
yeah, do that. Okay.
And it's better to have a layer for your text.
Yes,
okay.
always a layer for if you have multiple texts. Let's say you have texts for dimensions, you have texts for notations like what kind of ports these are. If you have texts for area, square footage, everything should be on its own layer. Trust me.
Okay.
In the long run, once everything is there, once you see a full-fledged, especially if the goal is a drawing, there's only one drawing that has everything in it. Like I think Ron's desire was to have a CAD plan that has all the campus floor plans in one, where you see explore, like you can go to each floor. You don't want, imagine having all these texts in one and no separation. That's going to create a nightmare.
Okay.
Okay.
For
So everything, it's best to have everything in its own layer. That way it makes everything easy. What you don't want, you can just hide.
okay.
And if you want to edit something, you can just edit in that layer. Unfortunately, it's not, so that it does not show up in everything and you're like, oh, now what do I do? So yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
How do you fill color in a shape, closed shape?
In a closed shape,
Let's say
that's
triangle.
the hatching one that which looked at last week.
Okay.
Now that's a closed
Oh.
shape.
Okay.
Okay. Hatch, or if you want hatch, or if you want solid. I mean that's gradient.
I'm asking for more like we use the triangles more.
Yeah.
So like, so
Let me. There you go. A random triangle. Okay. Now that needs to be red. So I'm gonna select solid because I just want it fully there. Select your color, either by layers or whatever, or you can just simply select a random color that you want. You know, that's a nice, interesting color. And I'm gonna select my point. Ta-da. Done.
And the blocks. So this is recent. Is that you can organize them here? But then what's that? The DWG.
That's the That's the blocks currently used in the drawing.
Oh, okay.
So it's just showing you what is being used here.
Gotcha.
That's your library basic. That's like in history whatever you used.
Okay.
And then there's like if there's specific things you're looking for that have been saved, sample libraries, whatever you. Oh, there you are. Sample libraries are right there. I was looking for these. Okay, there you go. These are some mechanical parts that I have already been there. Huh. Okay, cool. Nice.
Is that a screw?
That's a nut for sure. That's a bolt.
Oh.
Cool.
Nice.
So, see? Oh, that's a great example of using chamfering.
Yeah. Yeah, for bolts.
Yeah, for bolts. And you see, like, to explain how those nut grooves are, they use arcs
They'll be reflected.
and everything.
Oh.
I think that's just the grooves for that. And you can see that. Nice. Nice. Good job. That's cool. They did well. Okay. I'm going to end the lesson today right there.
Okay.
Cool.
Screens.
Now, whatever I did, it saved. Screen's saved.